Hello, we meet again on QPVN News. I'm Châu Nguyễn, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. Vietnam and Thailand promote substantive cooperation. General Phan Van Giang visits Vietnamese embassy in Philippines. Vietnam welcomes 4,500 Indian tourists. On August the 29th, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính had a phone call with Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra on the occasion of her inauguration as the 31st Prime Minister of Thailand.
Conveying the regards and best wishes of health from General Secretary and President Dulam to the King, Queen, and Royal Family of Thailand, and congratulating Paetongtarn Shinawatra being approved by the King as the new Thai Prime Minister. Prime Minister Chính affirmed the nation's consistent foreign policy of valuing and wishing to develop the joint relationship in an increasingly stronger, more trustworthy, and more substantive manner. Thai Prime Minister Shinawatra emphasized that Vietnam is a close neighbor and an important partner of Thailand in the region, affirming her readiness to work alongside the Vietnamese Prime Minister to beef up comprehensive and effective ties between the two countries for the benefits of the people of both nations and for the cause of peace and stability in the region. Prime Minister Chính highly appreciated Thailand for holding the position of the nation's largest trade partner and second largest foreign investor in ASEAN, affirming that he would continue to offer optimal conditions for Thai enterprises to conduct business effectively in the Vietnamese market. The Vietnamese Prime Minister told his guests that the country backs Thailand's 6 countries, 1 destination initiative to effectively exploit tourism potential among ASEAN member states, expressing hopes that the two countries would closely cooperate to strengthen regional transport connectivity, cultural ties, education and training, people-to-people exchange, and the role as a bridge of friendship between the two peoples. Regarding regional and international issues of mutual concern, Prime Minister Chính suggested that both nations continue to closely collaborate and reinforce solidarity and the centrality of ASEAN. He also proposed the two nations support Laos in fulfilling its role as ASEAN Chair 2024, sustainably develop the Mekong sub-region, and coordinate to maintain ASEAN's common stance on the East Sea as a contribution to peace, stability, cooperation, and development in the region.
On the morning of the same day in Hanoi, a scientific seminar themed 55-year implementation of President Ho Chi Minh's testament in Central Agencies 1969-2024 was held by the Party Committee of Central Agencies Bloc in collaboration with the Presidential Office, the National Assembly Office, the Ho Chi Minh National Academy of Politics, and the Sự Thật National Political Publishing House. National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn addressed the event.
President Ho Chi Minh's testament is one of the most important legacies in Ho Chi Minh's thought, crystallized from the quintessence of morality and the noble soul of the leader who devoted his whole life to the revolutionary cause of the Communist Party of Vietnam and the nation. Over the past 55 years, the testament of President Ho Chi Minh still retains its value of the times and is a torch lighting the way for the revolutionary cause of our party and nation. 109 papers submitted to the seminar focused on analyzing and researching President Ho Chi Minh's testament from diverse and multidimensional perspectives and aspects, originating from different positions, fields, and research, thus deepening the historical value and contemporary stature of the testament.
Implementing the 2024 cooperation plan between the Vietnamese and the Philippine Defense Ministries, General Phan Van Giang, Minister of National Defense, led a high-ranking delegation of the Vietnam Ministry of National Defense to pay an official visit to the Philippines from August the 29th to the 31st. On the afternoon of August the 29th, in the capital of Manila, General Phan Van Giang and his entourage visited the Vietnamese embassy.
The Vietnamese ambassador to the Philippines, Lại Thái Bình, informs General Phan Van Giang and the delegation about the results of the task performance of the Vietnamese embassy in recent times and the living conditions of the Vietnamese community in the Philippines. General Phan Van Giang highly appreciated the contributions of the embassy, including the role of Ambassador Lại Thái Bình to promoting the strategic partnership between Vietnam and the Philippines in general and the bilateral defense cooperation in particular, expressing his belief that the embassy staff would make every effort to fulfill the task assigned by the party and state, helping promote the relationship between Vietnam and the Philippines. Informing Ambassador Lại Thái Bình and the staff of the embassy about the official visit to the Philippines, General Phan Van Giang emphasized that the visit is paid in the context that the relationship between Vietnam and the Philippines has been constantly developing in many fields, including defense cooperation that has growingly developed in a substantive and effective manner, living up to the common interest of the two countries in the new situations. On the afternoon of the same day, General Giang laid flowers at the Ho Chi Minh Monument in ASEAN Park, Manila. The monument was inaugurated in 2011 in commemoration to the 121st birthday of President Ho Chi Minh and the 35th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Vietnam and the Philippines. General laid flowers at the Rizal Monument in Rizal Park in Manila. The Rizal Monument was built to commemorate the Philippine national hero, Jose Rizal. The delegation visited Fort Santiago, the Intramuros Walls, and the National Museum of the Philippines.
On the afternoon of August the 29th in Hanoi, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff and Deputy Defense Minister, received Lieutenant General Stephen Parano, Commanding General of the Philippine Air Force.
Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Tân Cương emphasized that the Vietnam-Philippines defense cooperation over the past time has been promoted with many substantive results in such areas as delegation exchanges at all levels, consultation and dialogue mechanisms being effectively maintained, cooperation between services and arms in training, coordination and mutual support at multilateral forums and mechanisms within the ASEAN. The host acknowledged and highly appreciated the results of the recent effective and substantive cooperation between the two air forces. Lieutenant General Stephen Parano thanked Vietnam for promoting Air Force cooperation with the Philippines in the spirit of ASEAN. He also said that state leaders and leaders of the Philippine Department of Defense always facilitate the cooperation between the Philippine Air Force and counterparts of ASEAN countries, including Vietnam. Previously, the commander of the Vietnam Air Defense Air Force Service held talks with the Philippine counterpart. The two sides agreed to continue to share information, exchange expertise in education, training, and scientific research, study to expand new cooperation contents, contributing to further promoting the friendship and cooperation between the two air forces in particular, as well as between the two militaries and peoples in general.
The same afternoon, the Ministry of National Defense hosted a banquet for military attachés to Vietnam on the occasion of the 79th anniversary of the National Day of Vietnam, September 2nd, 1945, September 2nd, 2024. Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Defense Minister, chaired the banquet.
On behalf of Vietnam's Ministry of National Defense, General Chiến warmly welcomed distinguished international guests and delegates attending the banquet celebrating the 79th anniversary of the National Day of Vietnam. He expressed his belief that deputy ambassadors, embassy representatives, defense attachés, military attachés, and representatives of international organizations in Vietnam will continue to be representatives of goodwill, sincerity, trust, and commitment, practically contributing to promoting close cooperation between Vietnam and countries and partners around the world.
Recently, in Hanoi, a political cultural exchange program was organized within the framework of the Party and Political Work Exchange between the Vietnam Coast Guard and the China Coast Guard. Attending the event were representatives of central departments, ministries, and agencies of the Ministry of National Defense, the Chinese Defense Attaché to Vietnam, and many officers and soldiers of the Coast Guard forces of both countries. The program featured many cultural and artistic performances composed by Vietnamese and Chinese authors. It also included reportages summarizing the Vietnam-China relations and the cooperation between the Coast Guard of Vietnam and China, including cooperative ties in party and political work through the periods. During the program, two party members of the Vietnamese and Chinese Coast Guard forces read poets by President Ho Chi Minh and Chairman Mao Zedong, making the highlight of the event. Through singing and poem citation, officers and soldiers of the two Coast Guard forces created a song of the Vietnam-China friendship, affirming their determination to promote the cooperative relations between the two forces to new heights. Coming up next, Vietnam-Singapore renewable energy project reaches new milestone. Vietnam welcomes 4,500 Indian tourists. Recently, in Singapore, the Petro-Vietnam Technical Services Corporation and its Singaporean partner, Sembcorp Utilities Pte Limited, held a ceremony of the handover of contract packages on wind and hydrological measurements and geological surveys under the project on exporting offshore renewable energy from Vietnam to Singapore.
At the event, CEO of Sembcorp Industries, Wong Kim Yin, affirmed that this is an important mark in cooperation between agencies on energy management in general and the project in particular, while highlighting Sembcorp's contribution to Vietnam energy sector, as well as cooperation with the government and parties of Vietnam to develop renewable power plants. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Vietnam Oil and Gas Group, Lê Mạnh Hùng, stated that the packages aim to provide accurate data on the natural and technical conditions at the project site. This is also a pilot project of the Vietnamese government in the field of offshore wind power, contributing to the goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and enhancing energy security of the country and region.
4,500 Indian tourists are currently on a trip to Vietnam. All members of this tour group are utilizing services at 5-star hotels in Hanoi, including both dining and accommodations. The tourists are very excited about their sightseeing journey here.
A group of 4,500 Indian tourists from a pharmaceutical company arrived in Vietnam on August the 27th, and they're now exploring Hanoi in smaller groups. At Hoa Lo Prison Historical Site, they were introduced to the prison's layout through a detailed model displayed in Block D. The tour guides also provided insights into the daily life of political prisoners during their time at Hoa Lo Prison.
Vietnam country, especially for the Hanoi cities, the infrastructure is very good, very cleanest city, and overall the culture is very different, especially for the handmade products and bamboo product, and food is very delicious also, especially local foods of Vietnam.
The Indian tourists eagerly explored the Temple of Literature complex despite the hot weather conditions. Many have visited Vietnam for the first time and are impressed by the scenic beauty and warm hospitality.
My first impression for Vietnam is very good. Excellent road, excellent environment, but it is too hot.
With 4,500 members, this is the largest MICE group from India ever to visit Vietnam, representing high spending. Since 2024, multiple airlines have offered direct flights between Vietnam and India, boosting tourism between the two countries. This market is growing rapidly, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. India is now among the top 10 international markets for Vietnam. With a population of over 1.4 billion and increasing interest in overseas travel, India is a crucial target for Vietnam's tourism sector. The Vietnamese tourism sector anticipates that the favorable impressions made by this group will open up new opportunities to promote Vietnam as one of the world's largest and most populous tourist markets.
And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch the news again at QPVN.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.